Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to do something we haven't done in a while, which is talk about Netflix She-Ra.
Yeah, well, I've mentioned it off and on here and there. But yes, we're going to actually do a video about She-Ra and also some things we're hearing about He-Man that people aren't going to like.
Yeah, we'll mention that. We're going to talk about what might be coming in the future on Netflix in regards to He-Man and She-Ra.
It better not be true. People are going to be really mad.
God. And we're also going to talk about, and this is actually the main focus of the video, Chuck Austen. We've mentioned Chuck Austen before as he's sort of the shadow producer on She-Ra.
Right, he had to be in the shadows because he was a boy.
Right, and they kept, perpetuating this story that She-Ra was just all women working on the show.
Oh, they're totally diverse writers' room, which were all women?
Mostly white women?
Yeah, the totally diverse room. Yeah, I don't think they know what diversity means. Anyway.
So we're going to talk about how Chuck Austen was brought in to basically steer the show because it seems like maybe the people running the show were in over their heads.
You mean just because you do a webcomic, a book, and you wrote a couple episodes for a cartoon show that doesn't make you qualified to be a showrunner? Surely you jest. I thought that was all the qualifications you need.
And we're going to talk about new She-Ra toys, both awesome toys and not so awesome toys.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yay!
And all of that on this very special episode.
That and more.
Very special episode of Clownfish TV. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're only a couple hundred away.
I know!
From 100,000, which is crazy. It's been a crazy ride.
I can't believe it.
And most of that's been the last like 6-8 months. I mean, it's been ever since we cut ties.
Since we got kicked out of our other thing, but led us to do this, so it's a blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise. Yeah.
But yay, thank you, everybody. So let's do this thing. So I want to talk about She-Ra. I've been itching to, and we haven't done it for a while.
Blessings in disguise. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. Chuck Austen, because I know in many of the She-Ra videos we talk about, where's Chuck Austen? Why aren't you seeing Chuck Austen?
Wasn't he listed like Chuckles Austen and some other stuff like that? It's like, oh, for gosh.
Yeah, they're trying to cute it up, but the reality is Chuck Austen was brought in to basically bring order to chaos, but they didn't want to point that out because then it looks like all the Tumblr artists that they hired to run She-Ra maybe possibly didn't quite know what they were doing. They didn't have the experience needed to run a big budget show like this.
I'm sure they've learned by now.
I'm sure they've learned by now.
But at the time, it wasn't the case.
Right. So this article out on Bleeding Fool, parody of Bleeding Cool, I'm going to link to it. And they're talking about Chuck Austen. Now, those of you who aren't familiar with Chuck Austen, he did work in comics for a while. And he wasn't terribly popular, if I recall correctly. He wrote X-Men in the early 2000s, and a lot of people did not like his run on X-Men. But he did work in comics for quite some time, and mostly he's been working in the animation industry for the last 15 years.
That's where I knew him from, was the animation.
Yeah, so he moved on to greener pastures. By greener, I mean better paying.
Yeah, that's what you literally mean, greener.
So this was actually coming from a site called Comic Watch. And they talked about it, and he was basically, he only worked in comics for a couple years. He said it was a break from animation. He worked on a lot of different shows, though, right? So where he fits in with She-Ra. And he talks about blacklisting, people being blacklisted from comics and stuff. And they're like, did you get blacklisted? And I think he more or less says, no, I didn't. I quit because the money sucked and whatever, because it's very hard for people to get blacklisted from comic books unless you're the wrong type of person.
And if he was the wrong type of person, he wouldn't have been allowed to work on She-Ra, because we clearly see what type of people work on She-Ra. So
yeah, so for Austen's cartoon career, this is coming from Bleeding Fool. What's interesting was the realization Austen was involved in the production of the recent She-Ra remake.
We knew about this for a while. It was mentioned before it even came out. Nobody
was talking about it, though. That's what was really strange was in all the press for She-Ra.
It was all Noelle Stevenson.
Nobody talked about Chuck Austen. I'm like, well, I see Chuck Austen's name. Chuck Austen's here. Why are they not mentioned? Why is he never being interviewed?
Because that refutes the idea that it's completely diverse, and by diverse, I mean all women.
Yes, and it wasn't. We actually had a man come in to save She-Ra. So let's talk about that. So this is what Chuck Austen said. After it was over, I contacted friends, went back into animation. I worked on the Cleveland show. The cartoon business is notorious for being show to show, one season and canceled. So I moved around a lot, like most animators do, boarding, directing, whatever. Eventually, I found that given my experience, I had the ability to teach and mentor younger people. and my career shifted to being what I call a support producer.
Nobody wants to be a support producer. Basically,
Support
it means
producer.
no translation. Translation is they decided they wanted to go with younger people. So, to keep my job, I found out that I had to teach them how to do my job to stay at job.
Support producer.
Is that what you take this as?
You know, I've seen this in other industries too. I worked in marketing, right? I worked for tech companies. I worked for tech companies where at 30, 35, you were over the hill. Yeah, they would bring in fresh horses. And yeah, a lot of times they would sunset older workers. So if you want to talk about ageism in Hollywood and tech companies and whatever, I do know that they had articles 5 or 6 years ago talking about male tech workers getting plastic surgery to look younger. Because if you looked old and tired, it was very ageist, and they would sunset you. They'd kick you out. And this is
very shallow, like Hollywood.
Yeah, and I think this is why we're getting some of the stupidity with PR in Hollywood. You know, we talk about it all the time. It's only been the last like 5 or 10 years because they're hiring a bunch of younger people that don't.
Well, frankly, the reason it didn't get out was because their whole approach to this was going to be it's the all new, all diverse young women who are now finally getting the chance to run a show, even though that women have been running shows for years and that was complete bullshit. And you know, they did not want people to know that an older guy was in there helping, because that would completely ruin their look. Their BS fake look, which is typical Hollywood. And they're already giving all the credit to Noelle Stevenson, including, that she invented She-Ra and all this other crap, which was a flat out lie.
Yeah, there was definitely a story. They had a narrative for She-Ra. And again, I thought it was very odd. I thought it was very odd that DreamWorks would toss millions of dollars at someone who at the time I think was like 23 or 25 years old with no producer experience, and just say, here, go do what you want to do. It's a very odd career trajectory. If you look at old school animators, and I've talked to some old school animators, they're like, no, you work your way up.
It's an insult to those who did work their way up. But those who worked their way up are probably gonna be too old now. And, so whatever the reason, it was a load of shit. So he worked at Cartoon Network on Steven Universe. Yes.
So I gotta wonder now, Rebecca Sugar does have more animation experience.
Yes.
But I have to wonder if he wasn't brought in to help steer that ship as well.
I don't know.
Like, is Chuck Austen the behind the scenes fix-it guy?
We don't know. But it is interesting.
Yeah, so these are other shows he worked on. He said continued when they needed someone at DreamWorks TV for Dawn of the Croods. DreamWorks had a consistent need for someone like...
Oh, imagine that. Oh, someone with no ego. Not what I heard. Who's happy to play second banana. So basically, he's somebody who knew what the hell they were doing, that had no problem letting these people take credit and acting like they knew what they were doing when they didn't know what they were doing.
And it sounds to me like he's just like, yeah, like I'm happy to have a job, but the only way that he can get and keep a job in the animation industry current year is to be behind the scenes.
The support producer.
So that
basically you can hold the little babies up to like the Lion King and like, look, here's the star, and you're the one holding them up.
So yeah, he worked on She-Ra. We talked about She-Ra landed on Netflix and took off like a bottle rocket. We're gonna dispute that.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but high praise in my circle of friends.
Yes, in your circle of friends. I've heard nothing but high praise from all the other people working on the She-Ra show, and my friends who got me jobs on Steven Universe.
Okay, so I guess this wasn't older.
I told you it was older.
Yeah, but it was posted. It was just reposted a couple days ago. So with season 2 coming in April, can you talk us through the origin of the series? I can't. I was brought in to help Noelle midway through the process, almost a year and a half in.
Well, that's interesting. Almost a year and a half in, but before the show aired, people out there said he was on the show working before it aired.
Yeah.
And his name appeared in some of the earlier episodes that were before halfway through the first season.
Yeah, and then his name disappeared. It was interesting because the only news outlet that mentioned Chuck Austen at all was an early glimpse at the series before the series even premiered. And I kept saying to you,
we brought up in videos.
Yeah, where's Chuck Austen? How come they're not mentioning Chuck Austen? They're mentioning Noelle Stevenson. They're mentioning all these other people.
They made sure they mentioned Noelle Stevenson everywhere. Don't you know? Noelle Stevenson is the biggest thing to hit She-Ra since she invented it.
Yeah, well, it sounds to me like, I'm going to be honest, things weren't going so well.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
They brought Noelle Stevenson in because she had a huge social media following. Things weren't going so well, so they had to bring a dude in with years of experience to rein it in, but he wasn't allowed to talk about it.
Or take credit. He was just there because he didn't have ego, second banana to support her. Because she was doing so well with everything, he says. Well, if she was doing so effing well with everything, why was he there in the first place?
Yeah, I was there to oversee the episodes, give notes, and get it playing the way Noelle
why would you
wanted.
have to give it notes? Why would you have to? Why would you have to oversee? That doesn't make sense. I was there to oversee the episodes, give notes, and get it playing the way she wanted. That doesn't make any sense.
Look.
We've worked in this stuff for a long time. That's not what that is.
This tells me that they got in over their heads. And again, this is what happens when they chase, people who might have a big following on Tumblr or social media or whatever, but they don't have any practical experience. But they're the right kind of person. We got to put this person in because that's going to be our show pony.
Well, right from the get-go, when they made her more important than the actual show, told you all you needed to know about this.
Yeah. And that's what they did. And they couldn't change that story. They couldn't change the story that, they basically plucked super hot artist Noelle Stevenson.
Well, super hot, I use in quotes.
Off the street. And they handed her the keys to a 30-plus-year-old
not true.
franchise.
She just invented it a couple years ago.
Okay, she just invented it.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like this guy was actually behind getting things done on time, moved it to completion on time and on budget.
Basically saying he did everything, but it's because she was working hard too. I just did what she wanted. Bullshit. It sounds like you made sure it got done.
Yeah, that's what.
I mean, reading between the lines.
Making a Tumblr comic.
What did she do?
I think it was her story overall, but I think Dreamworks they probably got a couple months into it and they're like, shit,
it's her story overall. I was there to oversee the episodes, give notes to get it playing the way she wanted, move it to completion on time and on budget. That sounds like what the producer is supposed to do. Call me crazy, but that's what a producer does. Her job was to show up at conventions and go all over to do the interview circuit and make it all about herself and talk about, here I am, here's a picture of me, here's another picture of me, oh my god, my daughter She-Ra. That was her job.
Yeah, meanwhile...
Diversity, all women.
Well, again, it shows you, it's almost like the men behind She-Ra get buried. Look at Larry DiTillio.
They didn't even give him credit.
They didn't even give him credit for She-Ra until they could use his death to promote the show.
It isn't even just men. Look what they did to Melanie Britt. They wouldn't even let her audition for a part as a cameo on the show because that would defeat the narrative of they just invented it. Strong women didn't exist before they invented it for the show. And plus they knew she wasn't going to stand by and let them smear the fans because that's exactly what they did. People were like, wait. We were all excited about She-Ra. I told you, as soon as I heard, I was like, yay, She-Ra. And then I saw Noelle Stevenson's name and I literally said, shit, because I knew what we were going to get. And everybody else who didn't know this were like so excited. And then we saw the art. I was not surprised. A lot of people were surprised. They're like, why does She-Ra look like a dude? What the heck's going on here? And then when the fans had questions, and it didn't matter if you were a male fan, a female fan, a straight fan, an LGBTQ fan, didn't matter. People from all different walks of life had questions. And to which their questions were responded to with, there is something wrong with you, you're problematic because you don't like it. And Melanie Britt stood in there and said, whoa, wait. It's always been diverse. Yeah. It's always had a wide, vast audience. You can make something new, but do not crap on the fans who have got us to this point to begin with. And they wouldn't even let her as a guest appearance in the show. Because it would blow the narrative. Noelle Stevenson somehow invented diversity and invented She-Ra.
Well, that's what she did. She divented it.
She divented it. See, I didn't even mean to make up a new word, and I did.
That's when you take something
on this glorious Festivus.
That divented is when you take something that's already been invented, you devent it, and then you reinvent it yourself.
No, you don't even do it. You just slap your name on it and say you reinvented it. You make a bunch of changes to it and say, look, it's mine. I made it. Anyway, what his job description is sounds like a producer to me. Not a backup producer, but a producer. Basically, he was brought in to make sure she got her shit together and got it done on time. I mean, it is what it is. And I'm sorry if you don't like to hear it. I'm not saying that she didn't figure it out eventually. I think she did. Yeah. I think she figured it out and they learned how to do it and then they didn't need him. That's why his name disappeared. They got them taught. They can be taught. And then they learned how to get themselves. I think that's why he's why we saw a much tighter story from season 2 on. Because season 1 was all over the flipping place.
Yeah, it was.
Season 2, that's one thing I said. It was a much tighter story than we had with season 1. And I think going on from there, I think they were taught how to do it. So I think they eventually did it. I still don't agree with the choices they made, but I think that they did better and they were taught how to do it, but he was there to teach them how.
but they won't mention that he was.
Right, because that refutes the narrative that it's because of women who just now invented, female showrunners and diversity, which is an absolute lie.
Well, because what it does is it also, it means that, he had to mansplain to them how to run a cartoon. Right. But he's got decades of experience. It's not
it's not mansplaining when you're actually telling somebody how to do something they don't know how to do. Yeah. Mansplaining is when the person didn't ask you for your help, but they know what they're doing, and you're just being a dick. Like, hey, sweetheart, you need my help because I'm a dude. That's different. Telling somebody how to do the job because they have no fucking clue how to do the job. Sorry, Mom. Is completely different. That is not mansplaining.
Just call me crazy. Call me crazy. But back in the day, I'm crazy. Back in the day, they didn't just put noobs in to run cartoon shows.
No. And it was men and women.
Men and women. And again, I think she did learn how to do it by the end, but it is part of that story that she was some sort of like child prodigy that just sort of picked it up, just magically.
Oh, there's a lot of interesting stories I'm not going to get into, but there's a lot of interesting stories around this person anyway. So credit being taken for things they do, etc., etc.
So anyway, so that's very interesting to hear, and we've been the only ones I think coming out the whole time and saying.
We've been saying he says
where's Chuck Austen
before it even aired. We said Chuck Austen's name's appearing on the list. Where is he?
Yeah, he was on IMDb and then he disappeared.
Yeah,
everybody stopped talking about him.
This is nothing new. We've been saying it.
We don't know what's going to happen with season 5. There might be a season 5 coming. I don't know, but I do believe they've wrapped production on the show, regardless of how many episodes they have.
They might have already had them done already.
It's possible because I think the character designer is no longer working. Was looking for work. That's usually not a good sign.
They might have been going to say something at Emerald City because they're going to have panels about it,
right.
But then Emerald City was canceled.
Yeah, so who knows?
So who the heck knows? We'll have to wait and see.
So I gotta wonder, with this situation, is this what happened? Is this why High Guardian Spice was delayed? Because we had another similar situation where we
like Chuck Austen fixed it.
Did Chuck Austen fix High Guardian Spice too? No, because again, High Guardian Spice was delayed for a very long time. Okay. And
now they're showing promos and stuff. I think it is coming at some point.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, the animation doesn't look bad.
Right, it doesn't look bad.
It looks very different than what they pitched. What they pitched looked more like She-Ra or like a Tumblr show. What the animation actually looks like is pretty decent.
Yeah.
The little clips we saw in Crunchyroll.
Which goes to prove that you shouldn't make your pitch a stupid Kickstarter video about diversity. You should just show the show and what you were trying to do, and maybe you wouldn't have got the backlash. Because maybe if you just make good stories and have good characters that happen to be diverse, then you might get a lot further with people than just being like, hey, here's our video about diversity. Oh, and we're doing this show. Yeah. I mean, that was colossally dumb.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid.
People are sick of it. Just show them good characters who happen to be diverse, and they'll have very little problem with it.
It's how they used to do it back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day when no one thought twice about characters being diverse until now.
Yeah, it's so funny. Everybody throws shade at G.I. Joe, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, G.I. Joe is actually one of the most diverse teams for its time. Early 80s, we had a lot of people, a lot of different nationalities. They even had a Native American dude on G.I. Joe.
And no one thought anything of it.
Anything of it.
Just recently they're making a big deal claiming it never happened. It happened for years. You didn't invent it. You have not improved it. Just make good stories with good characters and make them diverse by all means. No one has a problem with that. What they have a problem with is the fact that you're doing shitty stories with shitty characters, and it's even more insulting because the shitty characters are diverse. So it's insulting the people you're representing because you're making them stereotypes. Just don't do it. Make good stuff. Problem solved.
So again, I gotta wonder if High Guardian Spice, part of the delay was they had to bring a behind-the-scenes fixer in to fix it.
I want my job to be that. I want to be called the Fixer. Fixer Sparkles.
Fixer Sparkles?
Fixer Sparkles.
And they'll let you stay on payroll if you're an older dude, but you just gotta make sure you don't talk about it.
Yeah, just make sure you have to hide and raise up baby Simba to get all the attention.
Yeah, right. But no, I'm wondering because the same kind of thing with High Guardian Spice, where they had a team that was mostly like webcomic people that didn't have a lot of experience.
Experience matters. I don't care what they say; it matters. Just because you have a bunch of people who follow you doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, so let's
these lovely things. Oh my God.
Talk about
these. They're so ugly.
So this first came on my radar. I had a friend email emailed me these, and I didn't know they were doing this. We actually don't have a Sonic anywhere around here.
No, it's like an hour and a half away.
It's like an hour and a half away, so we don't go to Sonic.
And I'm not going there to buy these.
No.
Are they like paper, like shields and swords?
I think they are. They look like
God,
budget cut pop vinyls. They're doing these at Sonic. So the She-Ra toys, we gotta talk about this, because this is what's...
How did this get through? I mean, come on. Look how phallic that is. How the heck did that get through?
Well, I was looking at this and wondering why Black Hordak was fucking the toys.
Sorry, Mom.
I just... Anyway.
Oh, these are terrible.
Horse proctologist.
Oh, yeah. We have to do that. Swifty horse proctologist.
Swifty horse proctologist. So, yeah, they're not great. They're kids' meal toys. Kids' meal toys, historically, are not that great. But it is...
These are pretty ugly.
But it's weird that they're doing them now.
Yeah, it is weird.
So, I mean, maybe Season 5 is coming.
I think they might have been going to make the announcement at Emerald City, and then that got, kaput.
Yeah.
So, it's just, these are...
But the thing is...
do they have a list of what they are?
I think it's She-Ra.
Okay, here. Hard plastic She-Ra figure with sword and shield. Head and arms are articulated. Yay. Hard plastic gold variant She-Ra figure with sword and shield. Hard plastic. I just have funny hard plastic. Hordak figure.
Your plastic is so hard.
Hard plastic
Hordak.
variant Hordak figure. Swiftwind Straw Buddy.
Straw Buddy.
It's a Straw Buddy.
He's hanging on us.
Imp Straw Buddy. Inflatable sword of protection. I'm sorry. And magnets, because every kid wants to go to Sonic for an inflatable sword of protection and magnets. God, and straw buddies. They're so ugly.
Swifty, I find you hella hot. Let me go get my inflatable sword of protection.
It's just, I can't. They're really ugly. Squid King made a comparison to the generic face, like you can type in with the brackets. That's what her face looks like. That
she looks like an emoji.
It's bad.
Look,
guys.
they're kids' meal toys, right? But it's kind of weird.
Kids' meal toys.
I've seen some better kids. It's Sonic and not McDonald's, right? McDonald's stuff.
I just don't understand why Sonic's doing this. They didn't do Sonic the Hedgehog.
I know, right? That's a missed opportunity because they didn't think Sonic the Hedgehog was going to do well.
But they thought this was?
Well, they had to have started this months ago, right?
Well, they had to because no one cares.
8 months ago. So anyway, it's interesting because we've been talking about the toys, and the toys, I thought were important to Mattel. Mm-hmm. We mistakenly thought that Mattel greenlit this new She-Ra show to sell toys, and that does not seem to be the case.
Oh no, the fact that they rushed them out, I felt like they were forced to put the toys out. And the toys did about as well as I expected them to do.
Yeah, so here's a video out there. This guy's a toy collector. He's actually very pro Netflix She-Ra. He likes the show, and he said it's really strange that they basically came out right before Christmas and they were on clearance right after Christmas, sometimes as cheap as $3.
Right. So because they didn't sell. Because frankly, my whole circle of friends are telling me how great it is. Right. You surrounded yourself with all the people who work on the show, so of course they're telling you it's great. General public don't give a shit.
Well, he talks about that. He's like, here's the thing. We don't know because Netflix doesn't tell you what their ratings are. He's like, we don't know how popular the show actually is. And look, it's got a very rabid fan base on Twitter and Tumblr.
But those people don't buy toys.
Little kids aren't buying them anyway.
Then people were all pissed because Glimmer didn't look the way they wanted her to. And so they didn't even please the audience they were trying to please. So I'm not surprised about this at all. Now Mattel, I think on their end, they feel like it feels like they hurried up and slapped it up because they were told they had to. But while I have Mattel here, hey Mattel, come here, Mattel. You remember those awesome dolls that you had that were the tall ones that had the cool hair like Glimmer and Natasha, and then you had the ones like Sorceress and Teela? Yeah, fans wanted those. They wanted the brushable hair, but it looked like real She-Ra. I mean, I'll give you gave them brushable hair, but these are dolls, not figures. They want dolls like the dolls that are the tall ones, or if you want a figure, they want a figure like the one coming out to PowerCon, which we're going to take a minute to show you because it's absolutely gorgeous. They don't want the Sonic toys, they want the one on the bottom. That's what fans want. And I noticed that you gave her brushable hair there, and I really appreciate that. I'm going to sing your praises, Mattel, because the brushable hair is a win. That is a win. Even they gave her a brush that looks like a flippin' battle axe.
That's metal. That is
this
metal.
is a win, Mattel. This is beautiful. Why have you not done this sooner? I would buy the hell out of these. You did not have my support on the god-awful She-Ra toys like this, or the Sonic toys like, well, I don't think they had anything to do with this probably, like this, but you definitely have a win with this. More of this. This will sell. More of this.
Yeah, and we're seeing and we see.
And if you want to send it to us, please contact me and I will gladly review it for you.
There we go.
They're not going to, because I'm too terrible and problematic. But I would be fair, and I sure as hell would give that a glowing review.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. So Mattel, this is where I'm really torn, and we'll talk about this for a couple minutes. Maybe we have some more information forthcoming. We do have squealers in the animation industry. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think Mattel is trying to serve two masters. Two masters of the universe.
Yeah.
Because they've got not one, but two He-Man cartoons coming out. Now, the Kevin Smith one, I thought was going to be more true to the classic He-Man mythos.
If the rumors are true, it's going to be... it's going to be... You might as well have Noelle Stevenson do this one, too.
If the rumors that we're hearing behind the scenes about the new Netflix He-Man show are accurate, they're going to completely emasculate He-Man. Mm-hmm. And I think there is probably some kind of agenda behind that. But they also have another He-Man show coming out by the people who worked on the Batman that looks like it's a modernization of old school He-Man.
Which is what people are going to like.
Yeah.
I wonder if that got greenlit because they knew damn well as other shows it's going to piss people off.
Well, is this what Mattel's doing? Like, they know the collectors, the old school fans, are the ones that actually buy the toys, so they're bringing the He-Man toys back, the articulated He-Man toys back, which I'm buying every single damn one of them, and I wonder if they're going to do the same with She-Ra now.
Oh, yeah, if you do, I will buy all of them. Make sure they have brushable hair. Continue the brushable hair, and I will guarantee you I will buy them all. And I will make sure other people buy them as well.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. So I think Mattel is going to try to... It's almost like, okay, well, we got to go through with this because we got to look like we're progressive and yada, yada, yada. But let's also, create a show that's going to sell toys. Or, they're like, well, we're not going to tell Kevin Smith no.
Well, someone should tell Kevin Smith no. Yeah. I'll just tell you this. For the honor of Grayskull, I am Teela. That's all I'm saying. And Teela doesn't like Adam. She's more of a Dora kind of gal.
Yeah, and we're hearing rumors. I mean, we can't confirm anything yet, but it would not surprise me. I can't believe that Mattel would be dumb enough to do that, because He-Man is a bit, well, and I understand why they do it, because He-Man is an icon for masculinity, right? I mean, He-Man. So if you're gonna tear down the patriarchy, right, you're gonna go after He-Man and make sure that He-Man is
Teela.
Not even He-Man in his own show. And that's what we're hearing, that it's not just about Teela trying to get back. We thought, okay, well, this makes sense because Teela is going to be the sorcerer. She's going to go try to get He-Man's powers back or whatever. No. We're hearing that Teela is going to wind up being a better He-Man than He-Man, and He-Man is going to step aside and let her take over.
Right, because he understands that he's problematic and
he's
that
problematic.
We need a woman. I really don't care who Teela likes, even though that's the story too, that she likes women now. I really don't give a shit about that. What I care about is the fact that you have He-Man, and now He-Man's not going to be He-Man, it's going to be Teela. I'm like, why would you do that? Well, I know why you do it, but I mean, this is stupid. So basically, She-Ra isn't She-Ra because she's problematic. So now she's, representative and all that, and she's She-Ra. And then we have He-Man is no longer He-Man because that's problematic. So now it's going to be Teela and representative because she's a woman. So my takeaway is, as a woman, it's not okay to like men. I only can like other women. And men, don't you know that you cannot be in positions of power because you're problematic? Yes. That is my takeaway from both Congratulations, you just ruined everything. Because, I don't tell my son, hey, Squid King, just so you know, you can never be in a position of power. You can never, be strong because Netflix says you're not allowed to be. So Netflix doesn't think that men can be strong, and they're against men. Is that what's going on here?
I don't know, Netflix. What's going on here?
This better be all rumor and not true.
Yeah, this could be all rumor. Now, what's interesting, though, is I want to throw this out there, too. Filmation, who created the story Bible for He-Man, because the original version of He-Man was that He-Man was just a barbarian that walked out of the woods one day and decided to be He-Man. That was Mattel's version. They didn't really have a story for him.
Right.
Filmation came up with the whole Prince Adam thing and all that. Filmation was considered the gayest place in town in Hollywood. They had so many LGBTQ people working for them. Very, very diverse studio, right? The story Bible for the proposed He-Man sequel, which Lou Scheimer wrote. This is where we're going to go. If He-Man had continued, they were going to do a sequel with the son of He-Man and Teela. Adam and Teela were going to get married and become the new king and queen of Eternia, and they were going to have a son. I think it might have actually been Hero was the son. They were going to have a son who was going to continue the He-Man legacy. They got married canonically. And this is supposed to be a continuation of the Filmation show. Canonically, Adam and Teela got together.
You know darn well they're not going to call her He-Man, so they're going to call her Hero. Hero. We need a Hero.
Oh my God. I mean,
of course this is all rumor and speculation, but we're hearing it from, people who would know.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it turns out that this is all untrue. I don't even care if Adam it was gay or I don't care if Teela likes women. I don't care about that. What I care about is they should still be in the positions that they were in. And this is
if we have to knock He-Man out of the spotlight because it's problematic to be a big muscle-bound white blonde hair blue-eyed dude called He-Man. Just to make Teela look better, that's not good.
Again, it's diversity meaning women.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what diversity means.
Pretty much.
And He-Man could still be Adam and He-Man. Why can't, if they have a problem with it, why can't he be, gay Adam and He-Man? I'm just like, this is stupid. It's like, you can't even be a guy at all. No matter what you are, you can't be a male at all because that's problematic.
Yeah, pretty much. And if they go through with this, and I kept thinking to myself, no, there's no way they would do it. But we saw that, I thought the Doctor Who rumor was garbage. Like, they would never retcon the Doctor to have started out as a bunch of little girls, and they did it. The next one in the crosshairs would be He-Man. Absolutely would be He-Man. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but thankfully we're getting 2 shows, and hopefully the other show actually respects the source material and actually does a real He-Man show and not just an incarnation of She-Ra that's called He-Man.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
The new She-Ra that's He-Man. What Teela gonna have a thing going on with Evil Lynn, like She-Ra and Catra.
And again, like I said,
is Skeletor gonna be a woman now?
No, that's problematic because she'd be a villain.
Well, they have Evil Lynn.
Well, they're gonna redeem her.
They have lots of villains in She-Ra that are women, so they're gonna hug it out. But Skeletor's not gonna be Skeletor anymore. He's gonna be like Skeletora or something like that. Skeleta, even though they have Skeleta with Monster High.
Skeletor can remain bad because he's a bad guy because he's got a boner. So he's a bad guy.
And Beastman is going to go the way of the comic.
Oh my God! Yeah, in the comics they decided for no good reason that Skeletor and Beastman were a thing.
Was it Skeletor? Yeah, before he got turned.
When he was Keldor.
When he's Keldor. That's right, because of course it's because he's a beast.
My God! I like my bears.
He was a big huggy teddy bear. You have to hug him.
Oh my God!
I'm like, this. Please, for the love of God, say this. None of this is true. Say none of this is true.
Stop it.
Please say it's a nightmare and we're all going to wake up. So this is the cluster that is now the He-Ra and the He-Ra.
That's
He-Man. It's He-Ra. The She-Man. She-Man. I can't speak.
He-Ra and She-Man. That's basically what's going on here.
Yes.
He-Ra and She-Man.
He-Man and She-Ra universe. See, subconsciously I'm even doing it in my head because it's like so messed up.
It's all those pronouns are problematic.
I have to calm down.
You have to respect He-Man and She-Ra's pronouns.
I need to calm down. I need to look at the beauty, okay?
Yeah, just stroke her hair. It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. So we're going to wrap this one up. Just thought it was very interesting that our suspicions were seemingly confirmed that there was a man brought in to fix She-Ra.
Yeah, you can't say that. He was second fiddle. His job description just was everything a producer does. It's just convenient.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Please subscribe. See you on the other side of 100K. I hope. All right, guys.
Bye.
Talk later. Hey, guys. Thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.